Posture starts from step one. Posture has to be maintained throughout the jump. Posture has to be maintained throughout the takeoff. If those things are correct, as you come across your last step, you should be able to finish your last step well. That was one thing that I really actually did struggle with quite a bit. I would get in practice and I wouldn't finish jumps. I could not figure out why. And you know, coaches would get on me, you got to finish that jump, you got to finish that jump, you got to finish that jump. And you know, I'm going in there, it didn't feel safe. I didn't know why it felt safe. And I've actually learned later on in the past few years that it really wasn't that everything was right. I was not finishing through the takeoff correctly. I was not finishing all the way through my last step. And you know, I could run down the runway really well, but if I killed the last step, it killed the rhythm of everything, and it killed the motion of everything. And it should flow from a rhythm in the run to a nice rhythm in the jump. Also, you have a slow to fast accelerating rhythm in the jump also, if you're doing things correctly. So staying tall, obviously maintaining the posture through everything. And then if you do things correct, as you step in and you hit the takeoff, if you're on the right side pole, the pole should go ahead and push you into a good position. If you're driving up and you hit the takeoff right, your chest should come forward, arms are pushing up, and then you can basically get that bounce back out that is, very much like a tap on a high bar, if not the same thing if you're doing it correctly. We work a lot on making sure that they jump up through the takeoff, that, if we're doing straight pull drills, you're not bending the pole, so there's not so much of an emphasis on the bottom arm, it's more top arm. We like to have some pressure on the bottom arm with the straight pull, but not much, because the pole's not going to bend away, so that arm has to break quicker. But then, as an athlete learns to jump better, that bottom arm becomes much more important. We try to get it as high as we can at that point.
One of the roles that I've had the last 10 years is a lot of athletes come to me post-collegiately and want to try to compete at a world-class level. And so I have to break it down and say what things are going to make this. Let's just say it's a guy who's jumped 540 in college, and in order to be competitive, he has to jump 560 to 580 at a minimum to start being competitive. How can I get him there? Typically, I see run mechanics and their ability to create power on the run is one of the key things. But the other thing I see is a lot of people tend to float their plan. And as you float your plan, it leads to a floating. It's impossible to separate your hands and the feet in the ball. You float your hands, your feet are going to float, and vice versa. So I would say we spend a lot of time learning how to move our hands effectively and keep the pole moving throughout those last 3 steps so that it's constantly moving upward and the pole is never lowering. We watch a lot of kids who try to put the pole up by dropping their bottom hand. The hands have got to move upward at all times. So we've certainly got an emphasis on the plant, and it certainly seems to have worked.